Yeah, remember the name. Jazz Takhar, best in the game. Mamba mentality in his own lane. So better pay attention to what he be saying. Get the message, ain't no question. Giving advice for any investment. Welcome to the broadcast, the Jazz Takhar podcast.
Okay, Mr. Neil Desouza, the team tells me that we're good to go. And I've made some mistakes in the past couple of episodes that I've done because I get right into it. That's the goal. It's always just to get into it, because I've also noticed after, what are we at now, 200 episodes or something, yes? Coming up to anyways, that some of the best conversations happen like right off air, like just before we get started. And so I, like now with the new set, new season, I guess you can say, new branding of the Jazz Takhar podcast, I was like, guys, we're just gonna get into it. But this guy Yas, my 22-year-old superstar cinematographer and kind of all things behind the ones and twos for the podcast, makes the curly guy there on the left there, make sure that I get some intros done. So I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about yourself. Give us that comic strip story of like the origin story of who the heck is Neil Desouza.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
You being here, bro.
The star-studded Jazz Takhar podcast. I love it. Thank you.
Can I get you in my pocket or something? Because
Yeah.
you're real good for my ego, brother. It's really
Come
good. 'Cause,
on.
my team now, they've been with me for, I don't know, some of these guys have been with me for close to a decade now.
Yeah.
They don't give me that shit anymore. You know what I mean? So I like that you are. Definitely my wife doesn't give that to me either. So like now that I'm here, I'm getting it and I like it. Continue.
Oh, don't worry. I'll give you a lot. At the end of the day, I love watching anyone that is willing to put themselves on the line. They're willing to do something. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be mediocre. It's going to be average. It's going to be great.
Especially with my mug on it, it's going to be pretty ugly. I get that. I get it.
At the end of the day, you've just got to put it out there and be comfortable with what you do, and you will grow, right? So that's the part I love. I've watched, you've continued to progress, and sometimes you're here and you're there, and the sets aren't always perfect, and you've built the team, and right, and that all takes time.
How long you been kind of watching that? And we're going to get back into your intro. But I'm just curious. Like I like to kind of hear like somebody who's been following the journey and really get their feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So I'm actually pretty new, but I went back. I went back because I was like, oh, how'd he get to here? And then, oh, look at this. But what happened was on TikTok, your stuff started coming up on my feed. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm watching you. And you will do videos just about anywhere, right?
Pretty much, man. Yeah.
And so I like that organic side of it.
Look, we're going to talk a lot about a lot of things. I definitely want to get like, who the heck is Neil Desouza?
Who am I? Yeah. Why are people watching me? My name is Neil Desouza, and I'm an undercover Superman. I love it. Clark Kent.
Goan descent. I'm going to make a guess. From Goa?
Originally. Parents are from, grew up in Mumbai.
Yeah. Let's get that right. Let's be politically correct.
That's right. And I was actually born on the way to Canada back in the 70s. So as they were coming, they stopped in Kuwait. So I was actually born in Kuwait.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
And
it was like literally like a layover or something? Like
my dad was working there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then brought my mom and my older brother over. Hadn't seen one another for 2 years. Ta-da! I came along.
Okay, got it.
They stuck around for a few more years, and then
we're gonna talk about the birds and the bees right now.
That's
anyway.
right.
So yeah,
right.
I'm sure people got it.
Yeah. And so now people know me for being in private lending. I teach people about private mortgages, how to be investors in the space. I function, my company's Ontario Private Mortgages, powered by Bedrock Financial.
Yeah.
And so we do first, second mortgages anywhere in Ontario. But
how did that come about?
So
why mortgages?
So I actually, back in 2004, bought my first house.
Okay.
Kids, you're home, you're
Toronto?
no, I was living in Nova Scotia at the time.
Okay.
And you're home a lot. So started reading, and I And my brother-in-law actually said at the time, he was like, "Oh, here's this book you should read. It's really cool, Rich Dad, Poor Dad."
I was almost just gonna put the words in your mouth,
just
but
put
I
it
knew
there.
that's the book, man. It's,
Right?
It's I don't know
Launched.
if this is politically correct or not, but like it truly is the Bible when it comes to investing and really having that mindset.
Yeah.
Of now transitioning from an employee to a business owner to somebody who's self-employed and into an investor,
It
right?
just opens you up. Like it just opens your mind up to a whole nother, right? Because there are these, we're all multivariant, right?
Yeah.
As people, but oftentimes we want to just show this one side because we're afraid that if people see these other parts, they're not going to know how to deal with us.
Yeah.
And that book really starts to open you up to, I'm allowed to look at these other sides.
Shameless plug.
Right?
I mean, I had Robert Kiyosaki on the podcast.
Yeah. Go back and watch the episode.
Yeah. I mean, really, because it was an interesting one because like that guy just does like where he's at in his life right now. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't give a shit the stuff he was saying. Like, I was kind of even taken aback. Maybe that was probably like, I don't know, about 2 years ago. Right after COVID.
Yeah.
After the first lockdown, and you could just tell, man, like that, like he's really wanting to put out the education as much as he possibly can, but he's not holding shit back. Like he's talking about like even back then he was talking about how much money was being printed and the trouble that it was going to get us into at the time of this recording. Now, like we're summer of 2022, we fucking have seen what's. Like now we're living it, like that money that they printed in the States, here in Canada as well. And we'll definitely get the take on that. So you bought your house.
So 2005, I read this book.
Yeah.
And now I want to say this because there's a lot of people that, okay, you read the book and then they're like, now what? Or they're afraid. I was afraid
Of
failure, of making a mistake,
Got
right?
it.
Like
Okay.
what do I know?
Right.
I've read this book.
got inspired. Maybe the right word is got motivated.
Got motivated,
Yeah.
right? It just opened up a new line of thinking. And because I grew up in Scarborough,
Right.
2-bedroom apartment.
I won't hold that against you.
Right, thank you. 2-bedroom apartment, no lawn to mow or anything like that. It was barely an idea. The fact that we had our first home was amazing in and of itself, right? So that I could own real estate, right? So now here's this book, opens up this idea, but I'm going to mess this up. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And
It's not meant for me. I don't like all the shit that goes in people's head, right? Like it's why I have something right above my left shoulder here says RF. It's removing the friction.
Right.
Right? It's removing the friction in your own head. And it generally starts with the lack of belief and faith in yourself that you can actually do something that you have visualized or dreamt of, right?
Yeah.
Like to say, I can't, I'm not going to be able to get the financing for a home, or I'm not going to be able to put the team together. Yeah. That's just lack of belief. And in fact, I mean, it's why I love having someone like yourself on. And for all the viewers and listeners, like I know probably like 2% of what the heck Neil does and who you are. Yeah. However, I'm bringing guys and gals on to the podcast just to tell your story because they might not resonate with me, right? Somebody might be watching and saying, dude, like this Rexdale shit that you always talk about and the fact that you're not educated or you have all these insecurities. I'm not that friggin' person. Or if I bring on I bring on Laura and they look at her and they're like, oh, well, it's a good looking blonde girl. I can't fucking resonate with her. Right. Like, you know what I mean? She has an MBA. There's no way, or I bring on Yas and he just came from Morocco. It's why I want to really go wide with this and tell people's stories, because now you look at Neil and we're going to talk about all the stuff that you're up to, but he was scared too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody was scared until they actually did it. Yeah. And then they slightly moved that needle, right?
Yeah. I find it really important to share with people that when, after I got inspired, I already had 2 kids at that point in time. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, I can't just run out and do whatever. And I spent the rest of that year, I started reading some more. 2006, I read somewhere in the range of more than 150 books.
Wow.
I got to a point where I would literally go to Chapters, look for the newest book they had, stand there, read it. Once you get into reading that often, you...
Did you buy them or just read them at chapters?
No, I was just reading them at that point.
I'm not fucking around.
Yeah.
There was a time I didn't have money. I read in chapters. I would dog ear the book a little bit, put it in the fucking back. I'm not talking like when people come up with dumbass excuses about shit. Like I just put it in the back, went to the same chapters, and like if they had cameras and they looked at them, they would see the same guy coming back, picking up that book. I didn't have the money to buy them. You know what I mean? At certain times. So that's why I even asked. I know people are probably thinking I was being sarcastic with the question.
Yes.
It was real.
I actually called it the chapters library program. My friends know it.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I would go and they said, well, if you don't want it, you can return it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I can go take this home, read it.
Yeah, just keep it in as good a condition as you possibly can, right?
And bring it back.
Yeah.
They're like, if you don't want to keep it. And as a result, I actually bought more books than, I would have otherwise. I would buy them. I'd take them home. I'd buy 5 books, take them home, read them, and then bring 4 of them back.
That's it.
Right? Keep the one. And kept going. And now, here's the important part I want to share about that is that I was afraid of failure, so I was trying to get more and more knowledge. I didn't
Not to
have...
put you on the spot, you on the spot, and sorry to cut you off. My guys are starting to get used to that anyways. Like, and I don't mean that in a rude way, but my I know I need to get this out, and I need to get your take on it. But were you someone who, like, because you were reading all these books, were acquiring the knowledge, but not actually making use of it? And yes, and then I guess
I wasn't.
Right, and
I
then
wasn't.
my follow-up to that, Neil, really quickly, is were you using the fact that you were reading a book to disguise the lack of action?
Okay, so now let me finish the story. See, so I'm reading and I'm getting down to 100. I get to 150 books. I'm over that, and it gets to the point where I can read a book in chapters.
Okay.
Because I'm like, chapter 1, know it. 2,
Fast
3,
reading
4.
shit.
Right?
Got it.
Yeah, know this.
Speed reading, yeah.
Right? You already know what they're talking about. And at that point, when I got there and I was like, okay, I've learned, and I've talked to bankers, I've talked to real estate agents and brokers and all these different people, and they're all confirming everything I'm saying. So I've got the knowledge now. And so now what? And in that moment, and I'm a spiritual man, I was like, all right, okay, God, if I'm going to trust you, then, and if I trust that you've got my life, then I'm going to move forward, and whatever happens, happens. Right? You got my back. I'm not going to go around blaming you. Let me move forward. I've got this knowledge. There's nothing left. Right? If you have faith, then it's time for action. Right? Because now at that point, all that I'm left with is fear. I can't use knowledge as an excuse anymore. All that's left there is fear, and I have to decide what kind of man I'm going to be. Mm-hmm. Am I going to sit with the fear and live with regret, or am I going to take some actions? And having kids, you teach them, you've got to do things. And you're going to make mistakes.
And it's easy to tell other people what to do, right?
And
right, like even it could be your kids, it could be nieces, it could be nephew, it could be just other staff people. You can tell somebody else what to do, but when it fucking comes to you doing it, like it's a lot tougher, right?
Was the moment that I was like, all right, let's go. And then I bought my first property in 2007.
Okay.
And the market started crashing. All right, everyone knows about the market in 2008. Well, it was already crashing in 2007.
You could start to see the writing on the wall a little bit. Yeah.
Well, some one mortgage company that I was dealing with, when I started, it was gone before I was done the 6-week turnover rehab, right? So it was gone. I didn't know why it was gone, but it was gone. So the mistakes, the failures, the costs started going up, and it was like, okay, but something was going to happen.
Yeah, but now at that time, weren't you like, holy shit, my biggest fear actually happened now? The fact that...
Actually, I got excited.
Okay.
I got excited because I knew you can prepare everything, and then something is still going to go wrong. So now this goes wrong, and you're like,
That's
okay,
called Murphy's Law.
here we go.
When something can go wrong, it's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But I knew that something was going to go wrong. So now something has gone wrong. All right, I can let it go, and let's keep going. And kept moving, and finished it off, and refied the property. Ended up, I put more money back into my pocket than, when I was done, than when I started.
So now at this point, are you starting to think that, okay, like I want to get into the mortgage industry?
No,
not
nothing.
at all.
Nothing at that.
Okay.
I wanted to buy real estate. But here's the thing. I bought the first one, and then it was like, now what do I do? The one person that was teaching me, he goes, well, now you get a second one. I was like, well, where do I get more money to get the second one? And he was like, well, I've got a couple of buddies that we go in on deals together. I said, oh, okay. Talk to my friends. I got broke friends.
Got it.
So they think I'm like amazing for going out and buying investment property.
Right.
So I was like, well, where do you find those people? He's like, well, these are my neighbors. So he couldn't tell me anything. We're talking like the internet was at its infancy still, right? At that point. It was still pretty new. And so I was like, what do? I have no idea what to do. And I spent years trying to meet people, talking to lawyers, trying to find a mentor.
Right.
Right? Everybody's trying to do this stuff on their own. And I'm out there searching, which is why my podcast, Leadership to Wealth, is all about mentorship, is all about mindset, right? Because without that, that accelerates your growth.
So true.
Right?
I mean, like,
you can spend the years trying to get the knowledge, but you lose the years.
Yes. And like, it's not even just acquiring the knowledge, which is definitely what happens, but you actually get to learn from people's mistakes. Yes. And I've said this a million times. I'm going to keep saying it because I actually know people are catching on because I'm getting the DMs and the emails saying, hey, Jazz, like I'm taking your advice on this, or, I actually just started this, which is that real estate investors are the best groups to get around and be mentored by, comparing it to other types of industries or meetups or masterminds, because for some reason, I've noticed this now for the last decade, being part of entrepreneurial groups, being part of salespeople's masterminds, real estate investment groups. Real estate investors, they just knew how it feels to get that first property. Like, you can tell if you're watching and listening right now and you can't tell and feel the emotion that Neil felt talking about his first property, like, you've seen this before, right? And so I think if you're getting started, the best way to do that is sit with people, get part of real estate investment groups, because they're going to tell you all the mistakes that they made. Where when it comes to those other groups I just spoke about, and there's great people in there, I'm not dogging them. It's just that there's this scarcity mindset in those types of groups, where in the real estate world, where you would probably think there should be a little bit more scarcity because there's only so many income properties, at a given time, or when, like, what the market that we just went through, where there was like hardly anyone selling, there was no inventory. People have this abundance mentality. It's like, yo, Neil, man, make sure you don't do it like this because I wasn't able to get my seventh property. Or, Neil, make sure you don't work with the bank and work with a private lender, or start the process of a private lender. Like, if there's anything someone takes out of our podcast when we're talking about like investing in real estate, man, I really truly hope it's the fact that, like, just get around some of these meetups. There's so many in our city. There's so many in the country. So many like in the States. There's a bunch. Just get to them. Google real estate meetups. Like, I can't make it any easier. I'm not here to recommend any of them. Just Google it. Go check them out. Because to your point, Neil, you're going to waste a lot of time by reading, making mistakes. You're going to make the friggin' mistakes anyways, even learning from a mentor, but just get to a place where they're already having these conversations. Yeah.
I mean, the beautiful thing about a mentor is really time acceleration, right? They're actually going to be able to help you navigate through that, right? And you're going to learn in that process. Everyone wants the how, but it's really about the who. And And if you're teachable, if you can find a mentor, if you can find people, right? I came here and I was like, look, I've got my own show, but I want to see what Jas is doing because he's blowing it up. He's doing great stuff. I want to learn from him.
Yeah,
right?
and you're gonna bump into people like, you don't know, I could be an ass. I could have been a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could have been the person like, I'm not gonna really tell this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just had somebody came into the studio just before you walked in, and he's like, Jas, can you tell me where you got the sign from? Who did your drawings here? Where did you get the backdrops? I'm like, yeah. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because you're gonna run across people. You know, there's that old saying, right? Like, you probably don't want to meet any one of your heroes, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they turn out to be people that you never really thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
But you're also going to realize that most people that have done something that have done something big, and they're at a place, most people are at a place in their life when they've had a lot of success that all they want to do is give it away.
Yeah.
Because the money doesn't mean anything to them anymore. You know what I mean? Not to sit here and say that I have hundreds of millions of dollars by any means, but it's more like I get way more happiness when I see like the smile on your face when you're like, Jas, man, I love what you did here. So, okay, you mind if I do this? And you, like, where did you do this? And because I could do a deal and we make a gross commission of $35,000, you kind of get numb to that kind of stuff over time, right? And so now talk to me about how you get into the space of
how I get into finance. So I'm now looking for mentorship. I'm trying to figure out how do I move to the next level. Continuing to do reading, but really have no idea. And so then as I'm working for the federal government at the time, right?
Okay.
Full time for the government, and then we moved.
What are you doing there?
Well, I started. What was I doing at the time?
Maybe
Infrastructure.
it was something
There are some things I can't talk about, but I've worked for the government. Just leave it there.
You know what I mean?
So can't talk about that stuff. But I was working for national defense. We'll leave it at that. And then I moved back to Ontario because my kids are starting to grow.
Okay, cool.
And the family is here in Ontario. I'm living out on the East Coast, loving it out there by the ocean. But it's time to come back. And so I come back. And I start working with corrections. So going from the military to now working with inmates. Anyways, that was a big change. And I just realized that's not where I want to be. And so I was like, well, let's do real estate. I've been doing this for all these years on the investing side. Now, why don't I come over there? And I looked at your side of the fence and went, I'm not going to do it. I'm too Indian on that side. I was like, if anybody complains to me about wallpaper, I'm going to shoot them.
Yeah, so forget. I just don't want to do the showings. I get it.
I was like,
for sure.
And then it just came upon me that, what about the mortgages? I was like, that's great. My job is to get a deal for somebody, and I get paid if I get them a deal. I love it. And then I got in, and my first year lost money.
Okay,
lost money.
So at this time, the first year, you're a broker.
No, I'm an agent.
Okay,
right. I'm an agent, and I'm still an agent, by the way. Hope to never.
When I say mortgage broker, mortgage agent, same thing, or am I?
No. So the broker is the one who gets all the paperwork.
Okay, go on.
He gets all the paperwork. He does all that administration.
And then mortgage agent, like, how do you describe that? Like,
so the agent is able to do all of the deals, and they are liable, right? Because they are an agent, you are actually liable, right? And one of the differences, that they made in the real estate world is a lot of realtors then became sales reps. They changed the title because the real estate agent, the broker, is the one that owns the liability.
So I just want to make sure,
right? So that's all the changes.
That's really
they can
the
sue
only
me.
difference. It's like me saying a real estate. I'm not a broker of record,
right?
Because I don't own the brokerage of Royal LePage Signature, for example, the umbrella that I'm under. But yes, okay. So in your world, a mortgage broker is kind of the head of the brokerage, and a mortgage agent is kind of like a mortgage salesperson who's going to go get and put the client in touch with the lender. And so, okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that correct.
Yeah, that's right. You can be a broker without being the person with the administration. Okay, but by and large, being a broker you're just learning how to oversee.
Got it.
Agents.
So you're a mortgage agent at this time.
Mortgage
First year
agent.
you go broke.
Yeah, it's a good thing I had money in the bank, right? But there it went. I'm
Went broke
spending
because of just not a lot of revenues coming in, or too many expenses. Like what?
I'm trying to learn I went from the government going over to
Full time. You made the jump.
Yeah, full
Good.
time. Yeah, just made the jump, and then I didn't have a base of people that I knew. I didn't know how. You don't actually know how to do a mortgage when you're done. When you're done, the licensing. All you've done is they've taught you how you can get sued in all these different ways.
It's the exact same
fraud,
thing with
all
real
of this
estate
kind of
agents,
stuff,
Like,
right?
No.
Yeah.
Like I'm not knocking.
I actually did my real estate.
The course.
Yeah, the course.
Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 kind of?
and got all the way because what I wanted to do was commercial, and I couldn't get any interviews on the commercial side.
Because they're not talking about wallpaper and commercial.
That's right.
real
That's
estate,
right.
You know what I mean,
Anyway.
it's more like what's the numbers like, and
That's right.
What's the ROI and stuff like that.
So I jumped in, did that, and I wasn't doing well, and I got introduced to one of my first mentors on that side of the business. His name's Shami Baba. He runs one fund, which is a private MIC, and shout out to Shami. And he started teaching me about private mortgages. And what I loved was he started talking about the market. Here's how you can look at it. Here's how you can forecast. And I was like, this is the first guy that I've met that is actually looking beyond just the wallpaper of things, right?
Now,
Just on the commissions.
When you talk about the market, are you talking and what he taught you and what I'm hoping you can talk about now?
Yeah.
Do you mean that from like you can kind of start to kind of forecast the real estate market as an investment? Go into that because I'm curious. I want to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to look into the psyche of a borrower, right? Being able to look into what the market looks like, what the headwinds are, right? So back in 2020 and 2021, you can go back on my social media and you can see I was talking about, hey, this is what's happening. They're lowering interest rates. Prices are going to go up, right? Because there's a lot of money being pumped into the system. It's not difficult to see that, right? And you also know that because of that, the market cycle is going to go vertical. And then the moment the government started announcing, hey, we're going to be raising interest rates, I started saying, guys, the market's going to come back down. There's a whole bunch of other things that we could get into, but I just want to be clear that it's not rocket science. The government announces everything they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And so at the beginning of the year, I was telling people, you might want to wait.
Beginning of 2022?
2022.
Okay, go on.
I said, you might want to wait because the market is going to slow down. You can't have rates going up at the rate that they're talking about and it not slow down. And so what we're seeing with people, buyer's remorse, people like, oh, my appraisal has come down. We've already been through this before. You look far enough back and you can look into the future.
And when was the last time you think that, would you say like right around 08, 09 kind of thing?
Oh, well, that was a huge cycle.
Right.
But even in 2017, we
Yes.
saw,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We saw it. And then quite frankly, if not for COVID,
Yep.
we would have still been in a softer market, right? It would have still been. It wouldn't have been doing this.
Well, something had to have happened because if you look like at these cycles,
Yeah.
recessions generally come around every, what is it, like 9 years,
Yeah,
10
8 to 10 years, yeah.
8 to 10, call it. So
Yeah.
call it that 9 years. We were in like a period of getting close to like 17, 16 years, like here in Canada,
Yeah.
where we haven't really felt for like an actual real recession.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And you could tell that it was just a matter of time. Just didn't know how it was going to hit.
Yeah.
We didn't know that it was going to be a pandemic.
Yeah.
Mixed in with the fact of like with what's happening with inflation.
2008, 10 years later, 2018.
Yep.
Right? And there was a slowdown. It did slow, right?
Yeah,
So-
but we didn't get into like anywhere into a recession. is what
No,
I'm
that's
saying,
right. Yeah, you're right. And then COVID hit, and the fundamentals went right out the door.
Even COVID in 2020, like March 2020 lockdown, I thought we were going to get to this recession time around like May, June. That's when I thought, this kind of makes sense.
Of this year.
No, of 2020.
Okay, yeah.
Of 2020.
Yeah.
I didn't see values in real estate specifically go the way that they went. Like we saw 21, 22% in the GTA. Like that's ridiculous, right? The fact that we're in it now, it's not that surprising. It's just it's actually just been too long. I mean, I like it. Not the fact that people are like, going to start to possibly lose their jobs. We're going to hear about more layoffs. You're already hearing the big ones in the States. Like I just read a report on JP Morgan, the amount of layoffs they're doing. There's another one just off the top of my head. I'm going to bring it up. But in Canada, you're going to start to see the same thing, right? And so I'm not a fan of that, obviously. But the fact that now there's some normalcy happening in the marketplace, like we're not in this time frame where everything is in multiple offers. You have 52 friggin' offers at a night, and it's like a crapshoot in terms of determining what the value of a property is. 17 years, I haven't seen it. I never saw it get to that point. So I like it, like what we're kind of going through, the fact that we're past, I think right now we're still in a balanced market. But we're going to a buyer's market. We're past 3 months now. So we're in the balanced market. It's nice to be in a buyer's market as an investor, man, like as we are, right?
Absolutely. I agree with you. A lot of people are worried. My smile's getting bigger, right? And I actually think that if you're a buyer, your smile should be getting bigger.
If you have money in the account.
If you have money in the account. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say forget about it. Even if you don't have much money in the account.
Yeah, like I have access to money though. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
I'm going to say something that most people haven't heard since the 80s. If you're not old enough, you may not know the 80s. There was this thing called vendor takebacks, and there was this other thing called assumable mortgages. Both of them are coming back. I've already seen deals with assumable mortgages and
just really quickly, like when Neil says vendor take back, the term that you'll probably hear more often, same thing, seller take back.
That's right.
Same
Seller
thing, they just changed the terms.
That's right.
Assumable mortgage, wow, that I haven't heard that for probably a decade. Nobody talks about assuming someone's mortgage. Now
no
is
one's
the
done
time.
it.
Let's talk about why you think that we're going to start to see a buyer assume a seller's mortgage.
Yeah, so
educate my guys.
The easiest reason is someone's trying to sell. They've already got the financing in place. You really just have to qualify, and you take over whatever rate they've got,
which is a lot lower than what we're seeing now,
right? I mean, the overnight rates continue to go up, so you want to be able to take that over if you can qualify for it, right? And take on that property, take it on with whatever other advantages that come along with it, right?
Well, and what are some of the other advantages? Because to me, and I love this strategy, by the way, Neil, so thank you, because now I'm going to go a little further into it, like just looking for it. If we look at the last 2-3 years, there's people who have, what? Is it safe to say they're probably in a fixed rate of 2.5%, 2%, 2.2%, maybe 2%? Like, was there people in the last 2 years that got a 5-year fixed mortgage for 2%?
Okay, I gotta say this. I actually hate talking rates.
I know, but I'm just saying from an assumable perspective, because I want people to actually look for this as a strategy.
So
right?
Assumable. Let's say they've because especially when you're talking in the multi-unit space, you might be talking commercial. You might already.
I'm saying residential. Let's stick with residential because 98% of my people are in that world.
Right. So someone could have gotten anywhere from 1.9 fixed.
Yeah.
To 2.9.
Perfect. So let's go 2.5.
Right?
Let's go 2.5. So let's really walk through this because I'm really gonna start putting out some more content around this.
Yeah.
2.5%. Call it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. They still have 3 years left on this mortgage.
Yeah.
Today's rate right now for a 5-year fix, I won't let you go into rates because I know you don't like speaking about it. But I'm gonna say on a variable even, you're probably at 4.5%.
4.94. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. You could maybe do some discounting here and there. Yada yada yada. You're at 4.5%.
On a fix.
If you like to sleep well at night and you want to go fixed, you're probably flirting around 5.5.
Yep.
Right? I'm right around.
You're
there,
right.
Okay? So, I mean, we have a delta of 3%.
Yep.
Okay. 2.5 to 3%. if you're looking at properties right now, the strategy that Neil's talking about, and you correct me and tell me the other stuff that they're going to be able to get out of it, right? But I'm just going to go deep on the rates. You can go find sellers right now that need to sell a property that have a mortgage of 2.5% for the next 3 years that's fixed. And actually, if you qualify based on whatever lender they have that mortgage with, you can take on that 2.5% rate.
Yeah.
What are some other benefits that come out of that?
And
that I might have
the
missed?
difference between that on a $500,000 mortgage, your difference is going to be at least $500-600.
I was going to say 1,000, so maybe you would know those numbers.
Right.
I'm just doing it. So call it $600.
Yeah, $600
difference
monthly, right? Like that. If we're talking about
That's cash flow.
Jinx, you owe me a soda.
You get the 2 Indians in the room.
That's
you
right.
get the 2 Indians in the room.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
I actually even take it somewhere else. Like, I get the cash flow.
Yeah.
I'm different, and maybe I'm wrong.
No.
To me, it just doesn't matter. I could care less about the $600 a month cash flow because I got to pay tax on that shit.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out ways to not to pay as much tax as I'm paying. And so the $600 a month also doesn't change my lifestyle.
Right.
Like it's $7,200 a year. It's not going to make or break anything for me. What I'm thinking about is that 600, it's going to help me go leverage more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can show a lender, look, I'm making $600 here.
Yeah.
Some lenders are going to take that into consideration.
They might credit you 300 of it.
Boom.
Yeah.
So 50%,
Yeah.
right? That's probably what most lenders do. They're going to credit me $300. That helps me with the credibility to go get more mortgages to grow my portfolio.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we missed with the assumable? And like,
No, that's the key. That's the key, right
there, right? So like, you heard it here first. Like, I think that's a brilliant strategy, man. Like, I didn't even think about the guys and gals that where we can get an assumable mortgage. So, I mean, you brought a lot of value right off the get there.
Thanks, brother.
Private lending. I have a TikTok video in my phone right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I spoke about private lending. I was probably talking about something else. But somebody replied back and said to me, like, something along the lines, like, this guy's a fucking idiot about me. The fact that, like, why would you tell somebody to, I'm trying to remember. You know what it was? I put out a video saying, look, there's other ways to get into the real estate market if you can't get financing.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, how do you get multiple properties from the bank? I was like, well, I don't go to the bank. I don't deal really with banks because they're majority of them are stringent in terms of letting you get to 8, 9, 57 properties, right? Go to a mortgage agent. They're the best at this. They have access to a bunch of lenders, including private lending. That's where the video came back. Somebody left me a comment saying this guy's an idiot when he's talking about private lending because the rate that you're going to get out of private lending, it's in my TikTok. So like, I'm not bullshitting, is 15 to 20%. I was like, on what? Like, what are we talking about? 15, 20%. In today's
second mortgages, maybe
a second mortgage, but like a private, you can still get a private mortgage with all the fees and all that shit, like at 9, 10%, 11%. Now, why would somebody though? I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you because I think you do a great job in articulating this, like even on your podcast as well. And make sure, yes, we put all the links for Neil's podcast and stuff. Why would somebody go get private money?
So first of all, the key is opportunity, right? When you have an opportunity, it's only there if you can actually capitalize on it. And so otherwise it's just a tease, right? So being able to close.
You were talking about tease. I was just going to tell my team right now, my mic keeps going limp as well. So I don't know where our minds are right now. Just
don't worry. I was about to come over and
no, my crew will fix this. It's
right.
A new studio, so we're testing everything.
Come on
out.
in, yes. Get that.
He always wants to be on camera as well.
Yeah.
So.
There we go.
Hey,
don't worry.
It's all good. You'll fix that
he's
up
actually going crazy because he sees you keep touching it and knocking it down.
And I love it. The thing is, okay, now everything's like we're gonna have to put that warning on this podcast. But go on. So it's a tease in what sense?
It's a tease because it's frustrating to most people. If you see opportunity and you have no way to actually capitalize on it, it's just frustrating, right? And so the reality is that with private lending, you can actually get in, let's say it's 10%.
Yes.
But being able to get in there and get the deal is now you're able to do something with it. Now, the numbers matter.
When you say get the deal, because the person can't get the financing
They
from
can't
the
get the
bank or any
financing.
other lender.
There's a whole number of reasons. One of them being you can go around a number of the rules that the banks have to follow. Remember that banks have very stringent rules because they're borrowing the money basically for free from the Bank of Canada. So to make sure that they don't just borrow forever and lend it out, they have certain regulations. Oh, you have to have X amount to put down. You have to have all these things. But now when you get into private money, if I'm lending you the money, I can look at the property and go, okay, this makes sense. I will, it's a good security. I will lend you the money for that purpose. And for you, you now get the asset. And now you get to move forward with it and do whatever you do. Let's say you got a vendor take back, and I just did a deal 2 weeks ago. An investor came to me, said, I want 50% loan to value. So that's half of the value of the property. Mm-hmm. The seller gave them the other half. I hope people can hear what I'm saying.
No, say it slower.
So we lent half of the purchase price.
Can you just what was the number? What's the purchase price?
They actually bought it out in Timmins. It was $200,000 for a 6-unit.
Oh, wow.
6-unit building.
Okay, so $100,000 you guys lent privately.
We gave them $100,000 privately. The seller gave them $100,000 in vendor financing, seller financing, and they had to come to the table with legal costs and land transfer.
So let's call it $5,000 for giggles, right?
Yeah.
$2,000 legals, land transfer tax, another $3,000-4,000 in Timmins or whatever is on $200,000. Obviously, you're not paying the double tax in Toronto, so call it $5,000.
Yeah.
So they bought a property with $5,000 actually on that purchase price.
Six units.
6 units.
Yeah.
Actually zero down. So like
cash flowing,
even with the vendor take back rate and the private mortgage.
Yeah.
Now, on a private mortgage, what is generally the loan to value on it? Like how high can someone go?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different variables there because depending on the type of property and that. But in right now, we're seeing it scale back.
Okay.
Right? There was times when people would still give 100%, and quite frankly, you can still get 100% in certain situations.
Well, we just spoke about it, but that wasn't just all private.
Like you're
money.
an investor. If I get to know you, and I get to know what you're doing, why won't I give you 100,000?
You might, yes, exactly, and that's what private money is. Like,
right?
This is not people sitting in an
my
ivory
risk.
tower, exactly.
Right?
It's just regular Joes and
Yeah.
Janes that are just lending each other money.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody from the investor side, not purchasing the property, if you're somebody on the side that actually want to lend money out, you're on title. This is not a. And if I hear it again from any of my clients or people on friggin' the socials, like promissory notes and both, this is not like writing shit on a napkin. We're putting your name on title, right?
It's the level of security is such that the government of Canada allows you, an individual, to use your RSPs, your liras, your TIFs, your RIFs, your lifts, any of your registered money, they allow you to use it through a trust company to secure it against real estate, to lend in that way. This is, quite frankly, in the investing world, I'm like, this is the low level. This is easy.
Probably the most passive investment that you can
absolutely
make by far,
right?
Yeah, like I just want to make sure before I say that.
Yeah,
in real estate.
I'm not saying that
other than maybe like a land development deal, but that's longer term. Yeah, I actually agree with you. It is the most passive investment that you can make.
Most passive. Yeah. If you're at 50% loan to value.
Yep.
Actually,
go back to that for a second because I cut you off.
Yeah.
You can go as high as 100%.
You can go higher if you want, but not with registered.
But I'm saying, like, what is kind of it's normal? Is it 80, 20?
The norm, we're
70,
right in
30?
about 80, in some cases even 75 right now.
Okay.
Like, I will still go up to 85 in some cases.
So average, let's call it 80, right?
Let's
Kind
call
of
it
what
80.
the bank
80 is
does.
about what-
But again, you don't have to do any stress testing. As a borrower,
Yeah.
you don't have to go through the stress testing
Yeah.
or anything of that sort. I actually do.
I'm going to do the stress test.
I was about to say, like, I actually overall,
Yeah.
for all the government interventions that happen and really what I like the band-aids that we've seen over the last 5 decades. The one that I actually did like was the stress test, because I think, again, do you disagree with it? Okay, so that, and I want to get your take on it.
Yeah.
The reason I liked it is because I don't feel like, I feel like most people are not able to regulate themselves, and they do dumb shit with money. And we just saw it with fucking, what was the money that people got for free? CERB. Like I had a friend who was away, and he's talking to somebody at, like, they're at a beach in Mexico, and they just get into conversation, and he finds out somebody got the money from CERB. They used it on a fucking vacation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, most people are not good with money. So at least there's a little bit of a protection that was put into place. But I want to get your take on why you disagree with me.
Well, the stress test is garbage because people, by and large, are irresponsible with their money. The moment they qualify and they close on that, then they immediately, you got a variable. Well, I've got the variable at this amount. They immediately start taking on.
Oh, yes. Like,
Right?
afterwards, 100%. Yeah,
and
well, then
so-
they go do renovations to the basements and all that
So
kind
the
of stuff.
stress test, you just throw it right. They qualify for a minute and then throw it right out the window. And so I want to look at some other, what's their actual history? What's their mindset, right? And their patterns.
And how do you
Because
determine that when you're looking at it? So you said you would stress test me as a borrower. What's a
credit
couple of things?
application.
Got it.
Right?
That's it.
It doesn't take a lot. One of the benefits that I've had is I worked for the federal government, and I started in human resources. I've been dealing with people and their credit for 15 years before I got into this. Right, national defense, same thing, and then I got into corrections. Talking about dealing with people and seeing.
Yeah.
Right, so you get a feel for people and their habits, right, and you can see. I'll tell a funny story. There's a guy here who, this is before COVID, a broker, mortgage broker, brought me this deal and said, hey, this guy wants whatever amount of money he was looking for, $1 million. And I turned around and I said, no, I'll pass. And she said, what? Why? This guy's worth like $39 million. I said, he's going to be broke in 6 months to a year, something like that. I said a year. And she was like, you are out of your mind. And I said, okay, but I'm going to pass. 6 months later, she called me back. She said, how did you know? Well, the guy's got 4 cars, for starters. Every credit card is maxed out. Anyone with $39 million to their name has learned certain lessons coming up. Money teaches you something as you build. Wealth teaches you something as you build. And if you haven't learned those lessons, you will not get to that point. And in this gentleman's case, he had built it all in a very quick time. He'd gotten to development. All this money was coming in.
It's too easy.
But he was spending it faster than he was getting it.
And it was just too easy. He didn't
all it took
Yeah.
was for one permit to not come through. And that's exactly what happened. A deal that was, he was looking to build 100 units. He only got approval for 33. And boom, the cascading effect right across. Now he got bailed out because of COVID. Because the courts had to shut down. They couldn't process that stuff. And then all the other stuff all went skyrocketing, so unfortunately.
Well, he got lucky in that sense.
He got lucky.
The market did the thing, right?
Right.
On the flip side, Neil.
So even if you're not smart, apparently you can still do well in real estate.
Yeah, I think you can if you hold on long enough, right? Like, as long as you hold on long enough. That's why I actually like real estate. Like, I'm not into trying to forecast shit.
Yeah.
I would rather just buy something, hold on to it. I just want to do things that have the least amount of headache involved.
Right.
Because I like to have my lifestyle, like, I want to do fun shit, man. Like, this podcast is, like, it doesn't directly pay me. Like, you didn't pay me to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
I don't do sponsored ads. I get asked to do all that stuff. I don't want to be put in a box. Like, I just want to do fun stuff. What real estate allows me to do, because I'm not trying to day trade it. Like, I'm not trying to figure out what's going to happen to the values. Yeah, you know what? I use ultra conservative numbers like 3%, 4%, when we know in the last 40 years, the GTA's performed at like 7.2, 7.3% year over year. I still cut that shit in half. You know, I'm like, what if we go through a time period like we might go through now? I still don't think we're going to get into like 2-3% in the greater Toronto area year over year. But what if? I'm okay with it, because if it happens, that's what I budgeted for anyways, right? Yeah. What I did want to talk about, because like I actually want my guys and gals who are watching right now, because they're more investors. Yeah. They don't necessarily, not that I shouldn't say that they're not going to be wanting to borrow private money because they buy income properties, but they like passive investments because they hear me talk about it. And so what's the process that if they wanted to, let's just say, do it on their own, for example? Like 99.9% of people are not going to lend their own money. So we might as well just teach them how to do it. Then they'll come to you and come to us to get in touch with people, right? And I'm not in that business, but I can put you in touch with someone like Neil. What should they watch for? So if somebody comes to Jazz right now, and I got like, I don't know, call it, I got $100,000 that I want to lend to Parsa. What's the process? And I know I should look at his credit and all that kind of stuff. Tell me the step-by-step kind of process.
Step number one, get a real estate lawyer that has been through the whole process.
Okay.
Not just a real estate, because a lot of real estate lawyers know how to get you into a deal.
Yep.
They don't know the back end.
And when you say get you into the deal, that means like a regular home. Just a regular home.
Yeah, they'll show you how to apply a mortgage onto it, but they don't know the back end of what happens if it goes wrong.
Yeah.
If they stop paying you, right? Because we have all the same advantages as a bank, right? If you stop paying your mortgage to the bank, they will come after your home, right? And they'll repossess it. Or there's a couple of things, power of sale or foreclosure, but you want a real estate lawyer that understands that side of it, right?
A real estate lawyer.
Number one. Now, when you're actually looking at someone who wants to borrow money, you want to look at a couple of things. You want to look at their credit, because you want to understand what's their habits. Do they pay on a regular? Oh, have they missed home payments? Someone that misses home payments, their mortgage payments, you better find out why. Because if they're willing to miss a payment on where they live,
we got a problem.
You got a problem, right?
I totally agree.
So that's a smart one to look for. But you want to understand, because who knows? Someone could have been hurt, accident, 100%. That kind of stuff.
Ask.
And you need to ask that. Then on the other side with the application, you want to look through and get an idea of who this person is. Where's their money being spent, right? Are they out there making $30,000 a year buying jet skis and boats and the bills just haven't come due? Which means, they're not going to be able to pay me. Now, maybe if I want that house, that's great, because then I'm going to be able to foreclose and try to take that house. But if I don't want to go through that headache, then maybe that's not the person that I want to lend the money to.
And what about on the property? That Parsa, in that same example, what am I going to just look for there?
So first, this is an important one. You have to get an appraiser, and you want an approved appraiser. I always say go to the Appraisal Institute of Canada, make sure they're certified, and you want to get that appraisal from them, and you want to go through that appraisal, because they will literally tell you in that appraisal different details. They'll tell you, they'll point out how long houses in this area take to sell, the ups, the downs, comparables. They'll give you all of this information, and so you can look at the property, and they even give you pictures. I'll tell you a little funny thing. I'll actually look at the pictures. It's important to me, because I'm looking at how someone takes care of their home as well. Do they show pride that they care where they live, right? Or can you see that it's falling apart and they clearly don't care? Because the patterns are going one way or the other. It's abnormal for someone to be, they go one way and then all of a sudden change.
Yeah, but now
right?
when I lend parts of the money, he's going to be looking at 123 Main Street as his new property.
Right.
I'm not going to be looking at pictures of his current.
Right.
Right. And
No,
so
the property that you're going to lend the money
on.
against.
Right.
That you're going to use as security.
Exactly.
Right.
Anything else in that process that I should be aware of?
Well, obviously on the credit side, you want to know if they've got consumer proposal, bankruptcy, any of these kind of things. The other thing that I like to look at when I'm looking at their liabilities and when I'm looking at their credit cards and that, I want to see the difference between their balance and their limits.
I like this one.
Right?
So credit card limit is 20 grand. What's their outstanding balance?
Yeah.
If it's more than 50%, is that kind of like that's what I always look for personally. But where are you at with that?
You're by and large going to see one of two things. Either it's like 90%, it's right about there.
100%, yeah.
Or it's down low. But
You generally don't see the 50% kind of thing?
no,
Okay.
by and large, most people are
One
either
extreme
up
or the other.
or down, right? Either they're present to it
Yeah.
or they're not, right? And so I'm looking for that. Now, I'm not just looking for the one card because one card might be up and the rest of the stuff might be low.
Yeah.
But if I'm seeing one card, two cards, three cards, line of credit, there's a pattern there, which just means as far as human psyche goes, is that's their thinking.
Right.
Right?
Once they have
They're not
access to
concerned
money,
about it.
Yeah, they have access to money.
They're living on credit.
They use it. Before we wrap up, brother, correct me if I'm wrong.
My goodness, we didn't even get into social media. Okay, good.
It's one of those things. The team is waving me down. I know you're about to host your podcast episode with Laura Stewart,
Yes,
so I want to
looking
make sure
forward to
people get to that as well. I can take off on a 24-hour conference. I once did a marathon for 12 hours. A webinar where I spoke for 12 hours straight. And so I love this shit. I could go on. It was easy. We're going to do a part 2 for sure.
Love it.
And we'll go heavy on social media because it's another passion of mine.
I think it's important.
More content creation than social media itself. But what I really wanted to get across was I have a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong again, I have a feeling that you're always kind of open for business in terms of people looking for private money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, safe to say? Okay. But what I really want to know, are you also open for people to get in touch with you if they want to lend out money?
Yeah.
Is that safe
Absolutely.
to say as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Because I think that's important. Because after we just went through everything that people need to watch for, I know human nature because I've been doing this for a long time. 99% of them will not do this, as I mentioned, on their own. They're going to want to get in touch with an expert. And that is one of the reasons why I like to bring people on like yourself, because I know you know what the heck you're talking about. But also do your due diligence on Neil, because I'm not full disclaimer, him and I have not worked together, but I have a feeling we are going to very soon. And so I just want to thank you, brother. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I think you and Laura are going to have a blast doing it. She's a lot easier on the eyes, but definitely not as charismatic as me. But that's a new one for you, Laura. You guys have a lot of fun. I'm going to stick around and watch a little bit, and then I got to head out. But then I think you're going to come join me at my office and kind of immerse yourself.
Come on.
And you mentioned mentorship earlier, and I think that's really important because I think mentorship is very important. I just think the best way to be mentored is through immersion, because you can actually do shit, not just talk about it. And so it's going to be cool to have you and host you in our office as well. This is a little bromance is going to start out.
Yeah, come on. Love it.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.